This is gonna be a little bit of a weird one. Welcome to Haul Yeah Comics. My name is Nate, and I have records. I promise I'm not changing formats or anything. I wanted to return a favor to a friend I've made here on YouTube. Garage Geek shouted me out twice yesterday. Out of the 3 videos he posted in one day, he's entered some contests that have happened in the vinyl records community. Now, I am not a vinyl record collector, though I kind of used to be, sort of. To tell you a little bit about Garage Geek, if you don't subscribe to his channel, I really think that you should. He is one of the most eclectic collectors I've come across. Science fiction novels, just classic DAW paperback books, comic books. When you see the room he's in, there's all these books behind him, hardcover trade paperbacks. He just seems to really like everything, and he talks about things with such joy that I have a blast watching him. And one of the things I think he's most passionate about is music and records. And so there is a channel, the Auditory Vinyl, that is having a contest, and Garage Geek entered that contest and shouted me out in it. So I thought it would be fun to return the favor and for me to participate in this contest as well. So there are rules. There are rules that you have to follow for this contest. The first one is you need to be subscribed to the Auditory Vinyl. So I did that. Check. Step 1, shout out a channel and show a record that they would show on that channel. Well, aside from Garage Geek, I don't really watch any vinyl record guys, but I do watch Pat Finnerty. Pat Finnerty is the series of his that I love the most is What Makes This Song Stink, where on multiple occasions he's made fun of Kid Rock, and rightfully so. If you like Kid Rock, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry that I'm making fun of Kid Rock. I'm sorry that you like him. Pat Finnerty, he has played music with one of my favorite bands, Dr. Dog. So I guess I could shout out Pat Finnerty and say, hey, Dr. Dog, here's the album that would go with that. I think the problem with that is that's not really in the spirit. Pat Finnerty has like 200,000 subscribers almost. So because I don't know that many, I'm going to go ahead and just piggyback off of Garage Geek's choice of Mark Morris. In looking over Mark's channel, he really likes classic rock. I see he's got a lot of Beatles and Rolling Stones and David Bowie. But another band that I saw he had a video on was the Electric Light Orchestra, and I love ELO. I actually have 2 copies of this album because this one is in very rough shape. I don't know why I didn't grab the other one, but I'm not going back downstairs. As a kid, I remember thinking that the ELO spaceship reminded me of that old game Simon.
Simon sets the pace. You follow right along. Light the lights that Simon lights, or he'll tell you that you're wrong.
So Mark Morris, that's my step 1. I will shout out Mark Morris's channel and show the ELO album Out of the Blue because that's something I think he would talk about on his channel. So then step 2, you have to show 2 albums that you think would not normally be shown on other vinyl community channels. I don't know. I guess I know enough to think that this is not going to be one that's not shown. I mean, this is kind of a joke. You can't go to Goodwill and not find whipped cream and other delights. You know, in comic books, I am constantly buying things just for the cover because the cover stands out to me, and I don't know if there is a similar thing in records or not, but I definitely have some records that I've done cover buys of. I'll show you the first one here. Country Clarinet by Pee Wee Spittalera. This album is pretty good. He plays clarinet, and it's just kind of relaxing and nice. I bought this just because I thought it was kind of silly the way he's staring off into the distance with his clarinet, but he's actually a very accomplished player, and this is something that I bought that I thought would be silly, but it's something that I've listened to on more than one occasion and have enjoyed. Another album that I think probably is not talked about, and another cover by, well, what about Do-Wacka-Doo, the happy wacky sounds of the Do-Wacka-Doodlers? I don't think I could say that again if you paid me. This is like ragtime stuff, and I have tried to listen to this, and it's just not my genre, but I can't pass up that title. I'm sure I got this really cheap at a flea market or something. I'm going to go ahead and do a bonus because I just want to make sure I'm covering all my bases. This one here, I feel like could get me into trouble, but this is an album called Panty Raid by Doug Clark and the Hot Nuts. Doug Clark and the Hot Nuts. And on the cover they are clearly you know, doing it. This is... I don't know why I own this. Then my last honorable mention, and the reason it has to be honorable is because the record is actually missing, but as a kid, I had several of these. Book and record set where it had a comic book inside that you would read along, and then the record played, the sound effects and the dialogue. And it was awesome. I had this Batman one with Gorilla City and Sherlock Holmes on the cover, and that one I've lost. And then this one is one that I've had since my childhood, and I still have it, and the comic looks great. The colors are still really bright, but sadly, the record is missing. And then the last rule, or the last step, step 3, you have to show 3 records where there is a performer who's in 3 different bands. That one I can't do, so I'm going to bend the rules again. I'm going to show 3 albums by Dave Mason. Dave Mason is a guitarist, and he has a pretty extensive career where he has played with a lot of groups. I believe he was a founding member of Traffic, left the band, and came back. Don't know a lot about Traffic. This is just me reading up on him. He was also supposed to be the second guitarist in Derek and the Dominos with Eric Clapton, but he played session stuff for the Mamas and the Papas, Fleetwood Mac, and the Rolling Stones. So he's had a really extensive career. I love this cover because he's holding a cat. What do you want to put on the cover of your album? I don't know. How about me holding my cat? Dave Mason, Headkeeper. And this album here is my introduction to Dave Mason. This one is called Alone Together. And if you were going to listen to anything, this is the one I would say go and listen to. It really is good. My wife and I were in a record store, and the music that they were playing through the speakers, we said, what is that? Because we both loved it. And it was actually the first track off of this album called Only You Know and I Know. And so I really like this record. This just feels very very trippy. And this is a good album. So those are the records that I'm going to show for the contest. I don't know if I'm in the contest. I don't know if I'm disqualified because I didn't follow the rules. I just thought it was fun. And I appreciate David shouting me out in his video. And please check out Garage Geek, check out Auditory Vinyl, check out Mark Morris. If you're a music fan, I think you'll like these channels. I'm digging it. If you want to participate in the contest, I'd love to see what somebody else does. If you're not subscribed to Garage Geek, please do. He is an absolute treasure. One of my favorite people to watch right now, and he just puts out videos all the time. I will see you in the next one, which I promise will be about comic books. All right, bye-bye.